South African speakers. They're pretty good, eh? I just said to Hannes, I said, I should have got, it's German, but
It's German South African.
You know what the smallest book in the world is? The German book of stand-up comedy. But anyway, Wolfgang didn't write. I just said to Hannes, I probably should have put Hannes on after Wolfgang instead of putting me on after Wolfgang. 2010, when I was here in Cape Town, I was staying with my business partner, Dave Rogers, at a certain hotel. We just finished our 3-day program here called Rock Your Business. And we were in the breakfast area the next day. And there was a big man sitting there at breakfast. And anyway, Dave went to get some more breakfast and the big man started talking to him. When he came back, I said to Dave, what was that all about? He said, I was the owner of the hotel, he wants to see us. Normally the owner of the hotel wants to see you, it's not very good, right? It's like, have you paid your bill, all this sort of thing. So we go up there and it turns out that this guy is one of South Africa's billionaires. Owns a fleet of private jets, including the one President Zuma flies around on. Yes, that might be his name. And you guys are having good fun today, aren't you? Yeah, good. He's got a series of hotels, shopping centres, everything. So I say to him, Raymond, I'm not a billionaire. So I've got a question for you. What's the number one difference between a millionaire and a billionaire? Very similar to the question Richard Branson got asked once, which was, how do you become a millionaire? His answer was, be a billionaire and buy an airline. Wolfgang, is that a good joke? Yeah, just say yes. It's actually a true story. So anyway, I asked Raymond, what's the difference between a millionaire and a billionaire? And he said to me, Mike, it really comes down to just one thing, one word. Let's have some interaction. What do you think that word was?
Zeros.
Attitude. Belief. Action. Zeros. Very true. Yep. What else? Cash flow. None of you have got it yet. Keep going. Perspective. Thinking big. Mindset. We've got all day. Hang on. Let's see. How do we go here? Any billionaires in the room? No? The reason why is because you don't know the answer to this. Coaching? No? No? See, this guy, what I found out later on, he wasn't well educated. He came from a little village on the outskirts of Cape Town. His father was a struggling artist, and his father said to him, you need to go to school, Raymond, you need to get an education so that you can get a job and so that you can make the money that I didn't make. And Raymond said to him, I'm not going to do that. He said, why not? He said, because then all I'll do is learn from school teachers who got an education and got a job, and this is what they get paid. I'm going to end up being a school teacher, and I don't want to do that. He said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start my first business. He was 13 years old. And he said, because I don't know what I'm doing, I'm going to fail. Then I'm going to pick myself up again, and I'm going to start my second business. And I'm probably still going to fail. Then I'm going to start my third and my fourth and my fifth, and by the time I'm 21, I'll be a millionaire, which he was. So the answer, when I asked him what the difference is between being a millionaire and a billionaire, is decisiveness. He said, Mike, millionaires aren't very decisive. And ordinary people hardly ever make decisions. Most of us today, it's like, oh, what shall I put on? Where shall I park the car? What are we going to eat for lunch? Let alone making decisions in business and life that are just like that. You've already been offered some opportunities today. Some of you are still deciding. Maybe you should look at what you're deciding about. The fascinating thing about this is when Raymond said this, he said, Mike, I'm getting old. This 11-story hotel that you're staying in is probably the last decision I'm ever going to make. So why is that? He said, it took me 10 minutes to make the decision to buy this hotel. I had never taken 10 minutes to make a decision in my whole life. And you know what? I totally get that. Because I actually love making decisions. I love deciding. I love the option of seeing what the future is and seeing what the decisions are that I can make that will not only change my life, but also change the lives of people around me. You see, this year, it's the year of the wooden horse in the Chinese calendar. You know, we know the zodiac. Wolfgang's a Gemini. That makes sense to me, I guess. Yeah, on so many levels. But we also have Chinese, Chinese astrology, we're oxes, we're, roosters. We're all sorts of things. So when you think of a horse, what are some words that come to you when you think of a horse? Powerful, great.
Dinner.
Speed. Okay, let's just stick with those two. Powerful and fast. So this is the year 2014 when things are going to come to you powerful and fast. In fact, there's many of you in this room already on March the 15th that have had things come powerful and fast to you this year. Be careful how you apply Mr. Dreher's formula. Because if you get it wrong or you don't follow his directions, you're going to get in the crap powerful and fast. If you do what he says, you'll get results powerful and fast. I'm blown away already this year how many things have come to me powerful and fast. But it's the year of the wooden horse. In the second oldest book in the world, the I Ching, created in 3114 BC by the Emperor Fu He, who commissioned it, multi-authored, Confucius edited it. They talk about the five elements that rule the world. The Chinese are brilliant observers. Water, wood, fire, earth and metal, in a cycle called the constructive cycle. This is the year of the wooden horse. When you think of wood, what is the number one thing wood does that the other elements don't do? Grows. Okay? So this is the year when things are going to grow powerfully and fast. You want to focus on illness? Guess what you're going to get this year? Powerful, fast illnesses. You'll see it in members of your family and friends this year who are negative and who spiral down, they're going to drop really fast. You'll see it in other people that spiral up. By the way, 12 signs of the zodiac, 5 different elements. The last time we were in the year of the wooden horse was 1954. Go and Google how fast the world moved in 1954, upwards and downwards. You'll find it's pretty fascinating. So what I wanted to share with you today was a whole range of topics that's really going to enable you here midway through March, already 1/6 of the way through here, to really grasp some concepts powerfully and fast that you can actually put to use, as I said to you, later tonight, first thing tomorrow morning. Here's a good example of powerful and fast. WhatsApp. Jan Koum and Brian Acton. 4.5 years ago, this company did not exist. It was an idea. In December last year, there was no deal on the table. Now, 3-4 weeks ago, they sold it for $19 billion, including $4 billion US in cash to Facebook. Who here would like $4 billion in cash? Yeah? Only 3 of you? Good. That's good. There's not enough for the rest of it to go around. Here's the funny thing though. Show of hands, who here uses WhatsApp? Look around the room, folks. You're one of 450 million people that got into this in 4.5 years. So am I. I was actually on it before talking to Dave, my business partner, going, we've got a really good audience. Wolfgang's really boring today, he needs to liven up. This is a good example of how things are going to happen and occur. There are going to be people in this room that haven't even thought of an idea today that are going to sell that business later this year for many, many hundreds of thousands of rand. And by the way, yes, I've applied Australia's formula. We started a business, I mentioned it before, it's called Entrepreneurship X Factor, in 2012. Hannes, I'm really sorry, I spent a lot of money to start that business. I used exactly your formula. It cost me $19.95 Kiwi. That's around about 140 Rand to start the business. We started it on the 16th of February 2012, and once we'd finished our full cycle of the program on the 9th of June 2012, 16 weeks later, it had made us over $500,000 Kiwi. That's around about 4.5 million Rand. Did I invest any other money in that? 100% no. All I did was use his formula. It works, by the way. It's pretty cool. Is that a good enough ad for you? Yep, okay, cool. Let's move on. Excellent. Michio Kaku. He is the #1 quantum physicist on the planet at the moment. He's the co-founder of string theory. Let's make sure we know what that is. What's string theory? Say that again. Should feel like this now. No, I'm going to compromise it. String theory. Anybody else? Yes, connectedness of everything. Imagine you have like 1 billion strings going out from you and you're connected to everything from butterflies in Japan to your place. Just making sure some of you are still awake. Right? Now, Michio's a cool guy. He did something really weird just recently. I was chatting to him on Facebook, and he's actually been asked to be in the new series of Big Bang Theory as Sheldon's mentor, which I think will be really cool. But he was on Facebook recently. I was chatting to him. He said, I've got to go because I'm just trying this new format. He's done this new format 3 times since 2 weeks ago when this was happening. What he did was he's bringing out a new book, so he went and started a Facebook chat that said, I'm going to be available for 1 hour on Facebook to answer any question you would like to know about science. With 5 minutes to go, he had 1,900 questions put in. He did it again the week after. He had 2,500 questions before he started. He did it again yesterday, 4,500 questions. You must speak really fast, even faster than all of us, for that to get through. But the fact of the matter is, string theory, which I'm going to share a bit of with you today, is how we are connected to everything. So when you look at the formulas that Hannes is talking about, I want you to understand that all this bullcrap that they teach you at school about get a job, take a linear step through life, grow and develop by 4.8% per year. What a load of crap. I've not seen a successful business that does that. People are here, struggle, bang. That's what generally happens. When you lock it in and you get it right, it goes berserk. Now, there are fundamentals, and we're going to cover those. But this is what Michio says. By the very act of watching, the observer affects the observed reality. Very highbrow mic for Saturday afternoon. What does that mean? A bit louder. Yep, absolutely. So, let me prove that to you. Now, were you laughing a minute ago? But now she's laughing, right? So by the very act of being observed, I'm affecting the observed reality. Here's another way to look at it. Just imagine you want to go out and you decide, I'm going to buy a new car, I'm going to buy a black BMW. Suddenly you see black BMWs everywhere that you never saw before. That's another example of this. I'll share another one as we go on. Warren Buffett, 2014, out in the newspaper just recently. Water is the new gold. You want to look at some things that are growing. I'm going to share with you what's hot in 2014. Water is one of them. 1650 AD, the population of the Earth was 500 million. It had been pretty stable like that for about 1,000 years. Between 1650 and the year 1900, it went from 500 million to 2 billion. Then it went up to 7 billion where it is now, and they're expecting, even with China's one-child policy and all of that, and one property policy, by the way, not allowed to buy any more than one property in China, even with those 2 policies in place, they're still expecting it to hit 10 billion. But they're not making any more water. Yet we've all been drinking water today. We go downstairs and bottle water. In China today, $75 is the top price you'll pay for water. Pretty good. Comes in a crystal bottle. Water is the new gold. Listen to Warren Buffett. He knows how to make money. Here are 3 things I wanted to share with you. I was looking at what's hot this year. eToro. eToro is an online trading platform. By the way, comes on as on your app. Where's my eToro app? There it is, right there. I can get into eToro. I can trade online. I can sit at the back of the room. I can put market positions on. I can make money while I'm listening to these other guys, if I so want to. But they started 2 and a bit years ago, 50 million trades. But here's the interesting thing, and the reason why I think they're successful. Most of us have no idea, me included, really how to invest in the share market. My business partner is an ex-share bond trader managing $1.3 billion portfolio. He knows, I don't, right? So I don't have that expertise, even though I was a financial planner right back in my youth. Grew to the top of the financial planning industry, ended up running a company which had 4,500 sales staff and God knows what. That's what I did up until 2002 when I stepped out and went into entrepreneurship. Even though I had all of that expertise, all the degrees and all the practice you're meant to have, I still didn't really understand shares. Watching Hunters, I know why I didn't understand it. Yet, you can go to eToro and you can go, I'm just going to choose to do exactly the average of what every other investor on eToro does. And if you chose that last year, you would have made a 14% return on your money. Not bad. Second thing I wanted to share with you, Sony smartwatch. Yes, we have smartphones, but now we have smartwatches, just like in Star Trek. They exist, and they're going to get better all of the time. Third thing I want to share with you is something we've been talking about for 2 years. Yet, I decided I would put it to the test. It's called crowdfunding. Down the bottom there. Crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is the platform where you come up with an idea, you put it on a crowdfunding platform, and people decide whether they like it or not. What you're looking at there, first album in 17 years, is my crowdfunding site that I set up in December last year, I think it was. I got together with my old band, I'm an ex-rock musician, right? Done about 11 albums, toured the world, done all of that. I got together with my old band, hadn't brought out an album in 17 years. We had coffee and the singer said to me, I wish my kids could have seen us play. I said, well, why don't we do an album? He said, that's a great idea. Now, all of us could well afford to do it, but I decided I'd put a crowdfunding project together. So I went to Indiegogo, which is the platform. I set up my crowdfunding site. I went to bed, 10:30 at night, takes about an hour to set up. Found a video, cut and pasted some stuff together for a video. Went to bed, 10:30 at night. Woke up in the morning and thought, I wonder if anybody's invested in my project. Click. It was over 60% funded in 9 hours. Now, I can afford to pay for an album, so could the other guys, but we did it for fun. Now, here was the even biggest thing. One of our clients, well known to me, good friend really, she's been to many of our events, she's from Portland, Oregon. She's a minister at a spiritual church. She gave me $1,000. I didn't even know she had $1,000. So I sent her an email and I said, Barbara, why'd you give me $1,000? She goes, I really love the fact that you love music and I know you can afford it, but I just thought it'd be a cool thing to be involved with. That's what people do. You're not using these platforms for your ideas and your projects. You're not accessing what the world is giving you. By the way, I realised as I was putting this presentation together that you can actually set up your own crowdfunding software. So you don't even have to have a good idea. You just buy your own crowdfunding software, call it a brand. I don't know whatever you want to call it. The V&A Waterfront's crowdfunding site. People list their own projects on there, and you get 9% of everything that's invested. That's not bad. So Indiegogo, they got 9% of whatever was invested in my project. Let's move on. Here's what Forbes magazine said are the top 5 industries of growth for 2014. So if you don't have a job, if you're looking for a business, if you want something new, I just want to share this with you. First one, translation. Globally, 10% growth. It doesn't matter if you can't speak another language. It's got nothing to do with it. But if you are able to hire people and build a consultancy business and sell your services to somebody, you can start a translation business. You just hire people who can speak other languages, you build a consultancy base and you go and sell that service. Simple. Easy business. Second easy business, digital forensics. It doesn't mean going into your husband's cell phone and see who's really been talking to, right? That's not what that is. This is actually about going into corporations, digging into their stuff, looking for what they've lost. Again, it's a consultancy business. You hire the people with the technical expertise, you pay them a couple of $100 an hour and you charge it out at $350 an hour. And you go get the work. It's pretty simple stuff. Next one. Also in IT, this is IT security. The IT business is being so impacted now, 13% growth rate for security. Again, it can be another consultancy business. Now girls, this next one could be for you. It's also for me, so I might beat you to it, but the next one could be for you. What do you reckon it is? Cosmetics, close. No, I'm not really into my cosmetics so much. Online shoe sales. 16% growth industry. Who here has ever bought a pair of shoes online? Oh, luckily we sat them all in one corner of the room, so that's great. So here's the thing. If I had asked this question about 2 years ago, no one would have their hand up. I buy all of my shoes. Actually, I don't buy shoes. My shoes are sponsored. Maher Shoes, M-A-H-E-R, shoes.com. Right? They pay for my shoes, and now, by the way, thank you. You know, and you have it on video there, Landy. I have just fulfilled my sponsorship contract. So bring more shoes, but online shoes, right? All you have to do is go and find some cool people who have got great designs of shoes, get some, take photos of them, build a website, put them online, get a Facebook shop, get it out there, and you can make some revenue. And that's happening. And the last one is going to be no surprise, because the last one is building apps and online games. But listen to this statistic. 180% growth is expected by Forbes magazine in that industry in 2014. Kanie, did you enjoy using our Eventbrite app to absolutely register everybody here? Simple toy, right? No need for paper. If you walk in, watch the surname form, just click it through on the app. It's called edutainment. It's a combination of educating and entertainment. And we're looking at, Dave and I have been looking at many different ways we can build apps this year that engage you on such a different level and on the ways in which you like to learn as well. And you can do that for your business. Good, cool. Well, we got that sorted. Let's move on. Life design. I wanted to share this with you because I find that most people feel stuck. Most people have a bond on their house. I've got children, I've got to hang around, I've got children, I've got to educate them. I've got, I owe the bank this much money. I've got to put food on the table for my family. I can't do anything. I'm stuck. I have so many people over the years come to me and say I'm stuck. But what I want to share with you is a way in which you can design your life. You can go check this out on my Facebook or anything, but last year I did a pretty cool thing which I'm sort of redoing this year in another way, which I'll tell you about instead. Last year, actually 2012, we finished our Entrepreneur X Factor tour. We had a good wad of money after that, so it was pretty cool. So I went for a holiday in the Greek islands, in Corfu. As I was checking out of the hotel, the lady at the hotel says to me, "So Mike, are you going to be coming back next year?" And I looked at her and I said, No, Erica, I'm not. She said, "Why not? Everybody comes back here." I said, "I don't. I've been to 90-something countries. I want to see the world, so I'm going to go somewhere else. I never come back." She said, "But Mike, everybody comes back." And then the phone rang. So she went to the phone, and I stood there and I went, the universe is delivering something that I wanted. For years, I've been telling my friends, I'm going to be living overseas during the New Zealand winter because I don't like being cold. And if I wanted to live somewhere, I'd probably live in the Greek islands. And she just gave me an offer, but it didn't come the way I would have expected it to come, by me researching, deciding where I was going to live, putting a budget aside, blah, 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 and all the crap that we learned. So when she came back from her phone call, she said, "Can I book you in next year?" I said, "Yeah, have you got space between the start of June and basically the start of November?" And she looked at me strangely and she went, "Actually, I have." So what's that going to cost me? She said, "I'll do you a deal." So she did all her calculations. She came back and said, "It's going to cost you this much." And then I did something that very few people will ever do. I pulled out a credit card and said, "Just do it now." She goes, No, just pay me next year. I trust you." The Greeks are awesome like that. It's like when you go to restaurants, they go, "Here, have some free wine." "No, I'm not drinking." "Oh, here, have two." They're awesome like that. But I said, no, I'll pay now, because if I pay you, I know I'm going to turn up. So then I realised when I got in the taxi after doing that, and I was driving to the airport, I thought, you know what, Mike? You have a year, nearly, to organise your 5 businesses, share it with your business partner and get buy-in, that you're actually going to be swanning around in Europe living the high life, just as you've always wanted to do. And all it came down to was a decision. So there it is. There was my pad in Greece on the bottom left. They had really good food, beautiful sunsets. I had a nice suntan, really, didn't I, out there? And that was the beach behind where I lived. And I'm sharing that with you not to say my life's cool, which, by the way, it is, but just this week, I made a decision that I'm going to live part of the year in Cape Town. Thank you. One person said welcome, so that's good. The rest of it, not another bloody Kiwi in our town, right? So here's the thing, why not? You can run your business from an iPad. I actually run mine from this. Now, 2 things I had to do in order for me to live this life. 2 things I had to do. Number 1 is I had to get rid of all phone calls. Phone calls are the biggest waste of time in your life you can ever believe. They cost money and they trap you into doing things you don't want to do. Right? This little device here is not there. Stipulate the word not, N-O-T, not there for your customers to ring you. Because how many of you have ever had a customer ring you and go, oh yeah, it's me, your customer, and I was thinking I'm going to spend another 3 million rand with you this week. Would you like the money? They don't. They ring you up and ask you to service them, ask you to do stuff for free, ask you to do all this other things, ask you if you could, oh I can't pay, and all these other things, right? Just get rid of all that. If you check my phone now, the only phone calls that are on there are from friends. You want to go for a beer? Hey, what are you doing on Friday night? Etc, etc. The second thing is you don't have your emails pushed to this little thing because you watch people outside there and they're like, emails, all good. Oh my God, no problem. Oh, I've got to do this. It stuffs with your head. Right? This is about life design. By the way, how many here have a will? Great, you have a plan for your debt. How many of you still got a plan for your life? Seriously, think about it, right? Why would you spend all this money and all this time planning your debt and you haven't even planned your life over here, right? Seems nuts to me. Start looking at the tools around you and make them work for you. Don't be slaves to them. Here's a good example. I'm sitting at the bar at the hotel that I was staying at in Greece, and I was writing my new book, right? I've written 13 books, but I was writing my new book. And I'm sitting there writing, and this real estate agent called Spiro, right, comes into the bar, sits down on the outside, he's like, hi Mike, I'm like, hey Spiro, how you doing? He goes, can I ask you a question? Sure you can. He goes, what the hell do you do? I said, well, I've got a business partner between us. We've got 5 companies in media, in events. Publishing is one of our companies. We've got a travel company, you know, all the things I told you earlier. He goes, but I never see you doing any work. I went, but I'm working right now. He said, what are you doing? I said, I'm writing my new book. He goes, but I never see you on the phone. And so I told him exactly what I told you guys. And he said, well, you know how my life works? I said, how? He said, my daytime phone, my evening phone, my phone from clients out of town. So he put 3 iPhones on the counter. I said, are you feeling stressed, Spiro? He said, I'm so stressed. What's that word? That's the word, right? I love that word. Afrikaans is such a cool language. Can't wait to learn some of it, right? So, I only know the rude words that Hannes and Wolfgang told me, that's all. And Landy, I was very shocked that you knew that rude word that he was going to say. The thing is that he was an absolute slave to those things, and he just sat in there and he's just trying to create traffic through there. It's like one of our clients here from Cape Town. Last year when he heard that story, I was going to his house that night for a bride, because we're really close to our clients. And so as we go in there, he goes, Mike, is that stuff you said about your phone bullshit? I said, here you go, have a look for yourself. He flicked through, he goes, 7 phone calls in the last month? I said, yeah, that was an error. I dialed that one by mistake. He goes, Seriously? He goes, pick up my phone. I said, why? How many do you get? This is normally the time when somebody rings me, by the way. I said, to prove me wrong. I counted 150 phone calls a day. I actually was just scrolling through funnies and counting. I said, how do you get anything done? He said, I'm so stressed, I never get anything done. I said, can I just throw this out the window? This will help you. Like, no. It's actually got down to about 50 phone calls a day now, which is the magic of the prison. So I wanted to share with you, not all of you want to live in the Greek islands, but there are things in your life that you want that you need to design. And so there is a process, and I'm going to keep it very simple. No 17-step formulas, going to keep it very simple for you, so you can take it away today, think about these questions, and engage these questions. That's a Greek sunset, by the way. They're quite nice, right? You have great sunsets here. Here's the first question. Where am I right now? No, the answer is not in the V&A waterfront. The clock tower. That's not the answer. This means, where are you? What's your position? How much money do you have? What's your job? What are your beliefs? What's your family situation? What do you think is holding you back? What are your illusion of limited resources? Hans builds businesses with no money. I've tried it. It works, right? We're doing a $25 billion movie at the moment. I didn't even worry about where the money is going to come from. You don't need to worry about that. You've got all your questions around the wrong way, but I haven't got time to share that with you today. Number 2, what do I really, really want? We do a lot of coaching with people. This is normally the first question I ask. What do you want? This is normally the answer. Well, Mike, I'd like to increase my business by 13% next year. I'd like to reduce my expenses by 10%. I'd like to get 2 more staff that do this and this and this. Ah, that's great. What do you really want? Well, I'd like more time to myself, actually. I really would just like to, be able to get home at 5 o'clock. That'd be awesome. Yeah. And go on holiday. I'd really like to go on holiday. Great. What do you really, really want? Well, actually, I just want to read my kids' bedtime stories. And I don't do that. And I just want to walk along the beach, holding my partner's hand and tell her how much I love her. Do you see how simple what we really want can be? And that happens every single time I ask those questions. It goes from all this crap down to simple stuff that you can have today. And yet we think we want this. That's called media and marketing. Don't read newspapers. Newspapers are controlled. Everything Hunter's told you is absolutely right, by the way. I've studied it. It comes down to 13 families that control the world. And they control the media. That's the Astors, by the way. Right? You go and do your research. You can all find this out. We can share this another time. Don't read newspapers. Don't watch the news. What the hell do you need to watch that for? Right? It's going to destroy your thinking, your creativity, and keep you in the same spot. Let's move on to the next question. Why do I particularly want this in my life? Why do I want it? So I had to do that question, why do I really want to live in Greece? One of my things was to prove to myself that I could run my business from anywhere in the world. That was one of the biggest things. The other one is love Greek food, love Greek people, love the whole atmosphere, bouzouki players, sort of like playing lead guitar. It's harder to play a bouzouki version guitar. And I just love that whole atmosphere of life here. It's just so present. They don't really think about the future. They don't really think about the past. It's all about today. And the rest of us are so stuck in the bloody future and the past, we never think about today. Next question. Who and what do I need to do and get to involve it? Who and what do I need? See, one of the things that I needed is I needed Dave, my business partner, to agree to it, even though I'd already done it, right? It's easy to get forgiveness and permission. So I rang up Dave and I'm like, hey Dave, next year I'm going to be living in the Greek islands for about 6 months. I expected it to go beep, beep, beep. He's like, dude, that's awesome. That's amazing. I just told him we're going to be living in Cape Town for a while. He goes, I love Cape Town. He goes, let's actually set up an office there. So cool. All right? So he's very supportive. So who and what do you need to involve to get what you want? Next one. What are 3 methods you can use to obtain it? Just like a fork has 3 prongs. You have 3 methods because one's sure not to work, the second one may work, and the third one probably will work. And it may not be the one you think is going to work that gets you to where you want to go. That's why when you get offered opportunities, sometimes you look at the opportunity and go, oh, that's not exactly how I expected that opportunity to come from me, so it mustn't be for me. And then you go, so why am I not getting any opportunities? Opportunities come in weird, wacky, wonderful ways, right? Next question. Which of those methods works for me? Some of the methods you will come up with will stretch you physically, financially, morally. We work with a great guy in Australia who was Australian Entrepreneur of the Year in 2005. His name's Justin Herald. He's a well-known story. He sold over 500,000 books on his story. When he was 25 years old, he had $1.25 in the bank. And his dad was a minister. And he used to go to church every Sunday. And one day a lady at church said to him, Justin, you'll never make anything of yourself. You've got a bad attitude. Justin has got an extremely bad attitude, even now, 18 years later. So, what he did was he borrowed $50 off his brother, had 4 t-shirts printed up that says, you've got a bad attitude. Sold one back to his brother for $20, which his brother said, why did I give you $50 and now I'm paying $20 on church? Just because I'm a businessman now and that's how it works, right? So he sold 3 to his friends. They wore them to church, did hack her off. But after church, people came up to him and said, great t-shirts, where did you get them? Justin said, well, this is my new business, I'm a fashion designer. He sold that business for $130 million Australian 8 years later. By the way, he took 80% of that money and invested it in orphanages and children in Africa. Because he said that's too much money for any one person to have. Now, how did he get it from 4 t-shirts to that? Well, there's always critical moments, right? One critical moment was he went to a surf shop and he said to the owner, here's my t-shirt range, and the surf shop guy said, no. He said, take them away. Justin said, why? He said, because there's no demand. Justin goes, well, there's no demand because you're not stocking it. Yeah. And the guy said, well, I'm not stocking it because nobody's asking for them. He goes, well, nobody's asking for them because nobody's heard of them because you're not stocking them. So if you stock them and I told you about them, then somebody might come in one day and say, hey, can I have a cool t-shirt? And you go right to the back on all the shelves where you actually put my t-shirts because you don't want to put them out front because you're not like that. You pull one out and go, what about this? And go, oh my God, that's the exact thing I've been looking for. And guess what? That's called demand. So the guy said, no, you go away. So what Justin didn't hear, which most of us would have, he didn't hear that the guy didn't think the t-shirts were cool. He didn't hear that the guy didn't think he could sell any. What he heard was, there's no demand. So he created demand. Him and his 4 friends run 2 or 3 times a week. Hi, you got any attitude t-shirts? No. Bring it. No. Bring it. Hi, you got any attitude t-shirts? No, but everybody's asking about that. No. Hi, you got any attitude t-shirts? Well, we're just waiting for the rep to come back in. So then Justin rocks back in. The guy says, oh my God, your t-shirts are the most demanded t-shirts on the planet, and spent $1,500 with it. Now, when he tells that story, I watch people. Some of them laugh going, that's really cool. Some of them go, that's morally incorrect. Now, that's what I mean by which of the methods works for you. If you found that morally incorrect, then don't do what Frank Sinatra's manager did. Because when Frank was 18 years old, his manager used to pay 12 women and give them a pair of underwear, women's underwear, to run up on the stage and throw the underwear at Frank. And he knew Frank had made it when one night he picked up 13 pairs of underwear. And if you think that's morally bad, then you've probably never heard of a band called Linkin Park, who sat on all of the chat rooms about 10 years ago and said, Linkin Park are the new best band in rap metal, forget Limp Bizkit, they're over. And they just kept doing this, and kept doing it for 6 months, and then they finally organised a gig at the Viper Room in LA, which I played at. It's a full place. Everybody from the Stones to Slash has played there. And they organised this gig there, and when they got there, every A&R rep, that means talent scout, from every major label was there, look at each other and go, what the hell are you doing here? Well, yeah, I'm here to sign these guys. Yeah, so am I. Have you heard them play? No, really. And because they're good, they ended up being a big fight, and that's how they got their first contract. There's many different ways to do things, right? If that method doesn't work for you, don't do it. Find another method. And finally, who do you know who has already done this? There are case studies, there are mentors, there are plenty of people who have done, nothing is new. There are plenty of people that have done what you want to do. So just find those people. Yeah, by the way, take photos and screen if you want to, I'm good with that. You know, Hannes has already stolen my joke, but I do like to pose next to it myself, you know. And look off into the sunset. Let's move on. Back to Michio. This is deep and meaningful quantum physics. And in the future, we will be able to mentally contact anybody we want, see whatever image we want, and if we don't like it, we just get rid of it. He's not talking about pushing a button on a TV. He's talking about third eye visualization, which all the ancient people used to do. When you go to Karnak Temple in Egypt, you will see much of this drawn as hieroglyphs on Karnak. There's our little Egyptian person there. There's his face there, body there, projecting out of his third eye visions of images, and his wife projecting back. This is what he's talking about, and you're able to do this today. I've been practicing this stuff with my friends, and it really works. It's called quantum techniques, right? But what I want to share with you is this note from Stanford University. Studies with large particle accelerators have now led us to understand that space is more like a piece of window glass than the ideal Newtonian emptiness. It's filled with stuff that's normally transparent but can be made visible by hitting it sufficiently hard to knock out a part. The modern concept of the vacuum of space, confirmed every day by this experiment, is a relativistic ether. What this means is all this stuff that we call air and all this stuff that we call sky in the universe, there ain't nothing there. It's something. And we're like living in glass, which is why we're all connected, which is why string theory has a basis that is real. And the best way I can explain this to you is if we all walk out there and we look into there and we see a fish swim past the ocean, that fish doesn't know it's in an ocean. And then when a whale goes past, it creates a wave that affects the fish and affects the plankton and the way it waves and moves and the currents and everything like that. It's exactly the same for us. Exactly the same.
1 minute.
I challenge you to research this stuff, to find out for yourself, to take the tip of the iceberg of what I'm sharing with you this afternoon, and to learn from that, and to see the world a different way. When you get this, you get everything. Because then you understand you can go from here to here in a second. But it all comes down to whether you feel resourceful or whether you're unresourceful. By the way, what does resourceful mean?
Boer maak 'n plan.
What was that?